I just looked down and I was like, oh, we're supposed to go live.
No,
Here we go now. Here we go now. Here we go now. Here we go now.
Welcome to the Vlogpasters Podcast.
We're not doing that yet.
apparently we are though.
Hey, everybody. I forgot that I had that auto restarting to that one because of last week, because of our schnazzy stuff. Hey, welcome.
Good morning.
How you guys doing? For those that are jumping in, joining us here on the live stream in the chat, go ahead, let us know you're here. Let us know where you're catching us from. We are here. I have not even, you know what I didn't do? I didn't even like promote this on the other social channels. Jared and I just started talking and I was like, this is fun. So we just kept chatting because last week I couldn't talk to him off camera without everybody hearing. And sometimes
And that's
we
part
like
of
to
the
do that.
fun. Come on, man. That's part of the fun.
Keeping little secrets. It's I'm trying to say we're live. Come join us. That sounds
John
good, right?
Hayes. Yeah. Get in here.
I think that sounds like a perfect thing to do. If you see my face lighting up, that is because I'm doing things and stuff.
Things and stuff. Very important.
Wait, that's...
John Hayes is already in the chat. I think he's first one in. Believe it or not.
Nice. We like
So welcome,
that.
John Hayes. What's up, dude?
That's not right. I said we are live. Come hang out.
What are we doing today?
We are talking about things and stuff.
Things and stuff. Is that the title of the video?
The title is Should Sunday School Classes Be Online?
Ooh.
So we got a good one for us. Yes, so we have got John Hayes saying what's up. There's good old bite of brownie.
Deb's in there.
Mama's in the house saying howdy. And Chris Bradley, how you doing?
Dude,
Good to see y'all.
Chris cracked me up the other day on one of his comments on one of my videos. I appreciate a good sense of humor.
Hey, how do you like that new profile picture? I'm thinking about changing it already.
Profile picture.
It's on the screen. Josh is in the chat saying, hey, y'all.
Oh, no, I love it, man.
So it's just,
I'll leave that thing.
I think what I'm actually going to do is just remove the bookshelves in the back because it's just a little bit too much of a distraction. So I'm going to redo it, but still the same face and everything. And it really helps me doing that with a little bit of continuity between this channel and the other channel. So I'm guessing it was something about a bird.
Yeah, bird still haunts me.
Oh, so I was going to say, I was watching that and I'm like, you're going to shoot your eye out. And then I watched all the way to the end and I was like,
Yep. Yeah, it was just missing the compass and the stock. But no, yes. Man, that bird, it's louder in person than it was on film. So it was like, shut up. It would not, like, it was distracting me. I let it go for a while, tried to film through it, and then I was just like, I'm done. I'm going to end this thing. It's manifesting over there. So I went and got my gun, and I shot around it for a while, did not take the hint. That's why there's so many shots of me just like, pow, 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 pow. I'm like, never mind, I'm going for him. And then when I started going for him, that's whenever he left. Maybe it was the intent. He knew it was going down.
Yeah, he was like, no, I'm calling your bluff. So it was a good one. So if you guys have not seen Jared's latest vlog, it was great. Go check it out. You can find him over there, youtube.com/abiteofbrownie. And he's making the videos.
I'm making videos. I got another one coming out like today or tomorrow. So.
I've got like 3 in the queue that they are partially edited, and then I start getting in on web design, and yep. I then hate my life because I don't actually.
Dude, what are you doing? You came on the other day and you were like, have I mentioned that I hate web design? So what are you doing? Are you rebuilding your site or?
No, I'm adding a shop. So I was sitting there and I was thinking, I've got, t-shirts, I've got the merch. So I've got some merch over on Teespring, and I like some of the products that Teespring does and some of the offerings.
Right.
But this, I go through Printful, and then I've got some other products over there that I prefer Printful and the way they do it. And it's like, what am I going to do? How do I have this and how do I have that? So I'm creating my own shop on my website that everybody can just go, and it's a one-stop shop where it has everything kind of linked. So even if you wanted to go to Teespring, it's going to show the Teespring offerings and then take you from my site over there for that. So it's doing
what
all
you guys don't know is Josh is doing a whole lot of research for you right now. School of Hard Knocks.
Yes.
I don't think anybody is appreciating this because I guarantee you what I'm going to do at the end of all this. Jesse ordered me, I got a present in the mail the other day. I don't know if this is going to show up. Like a little bite of brownie.
Nice.
But whenever I'm out doing my own projects and whatnot, I can do some walking advertisement, that type of deal.
Yeah.
But guess what I'm going to do? If I ever do merch on YouTube, I'm going to go,
Josh, how do you do it?
Hey, Josh. I need to build a site. I need a store. I need all sorts of, yeah. Yep. So you are blazing a trail for us, my good sir, and we thank you. We salute you.
Yes, I am trying, and yeah, it's interesting. There have been some impatient people, though, when it comes to these hats. Like,
Mama Deb, chill out. They're coming.
No, it wasn't even Mom, but there have been some impatient people. I'm joking. I'm saying that tongue in cheek, but they wanted one so bad that I had 2 of them. When I mentioned I was going to make these, they went ahead and sent me the money. And they're like, once it's ready, just ship it to me. And
they're ready for their hat.
Oh. And then I made a comment about making the website so I can start selling these. And then I get more people saying, are they ready? Are they ready? Can I buy it now?
Do
So
these have the JV on the side?
they do, yes.
Sweet.
So it has, right?
It's black on black, right?
Yeah, actually I've got like more designs than just that. So I have, man, I wonder if I could even find it here. Actually, I wonder if I can do this. Let me see if I can figure something nifty out.
Satellites link it up in space.
Yeah. It's like, what are
Welcome,
you doing,
Dean.
Josh? Oh, yeah, we had one.
Welcome to the
Dean, is that Dean Lentini?
Yeah,
That's
it
what I'm
is.
saying. Hey, guys, first time hopping on the chat. Glad to have you here with us. It is amazing to see you. Yep, and see, here's one of the impatient ones. One of the impatient ones, Dustin Pickens, and he says, I totally love the hat. He was one of them. When I mentioned we were doing it, he's like, yeah, I'll just send you the money and get it sent to me. And then Charles Nickens over in China is the other one. It just takes forever to ship to China. So
Yeah.
his
Apparently, I have an A7S3 coming that way.
yes, it'll be here sooner or later. Let's see if I can remember how to get to my website. Isn't that always fun when you're trying to figure out?
Your own website? I'm pretty sure it's joshuaverwers.com.
Something like that. So I'm going to try one more here thing. Let's, if I can figure this out. Let's go. We're going to switch over here real fast, and then I'm going to see if I can do
Oh, we got a screen share?
a screen share.
There it is. Gorgeous.
So here is that hat, and like I said, I've actually got a few different options there.
So are you guys in the chat? Are you guys on the live seeing this, or is this just me? No, we're seeing it.
They're
There it
seeing
is.
it. So there's a white one, there's a charcoal.
Ooh, I might have to have that charcoal and the mix and match.
We got a few options for you.
Oh man.
So yeah, there are a few, and then for those that are like me and they just love blackout,
Yeah.
we got a blackout rendition of it as well.
That's usually my selection, but that charcoal looked good.
Yeah. So they look pretty slick, and then even the charcoal with black is another one that pretty nice. I like them. I like the way the little JV logo there on the side. Just kind of nice little discreet on the side. So depending on which color, that's what you get. But yeah, so it's been playing around with that, trying to get everything up and going, and it's just been a little time consuming to map all that out, set up the store, get all of it is just, yes.
You love it. You love it. Come on, man.
Well, here's the thing. Me, I like have this, a lot of inspiration from Casey Neistat when it comes to vlogging.
Mm-hmm.
I might have to do some of like Casey's new style vlogs where I just cut it off. It's like, because to try to wrap everything up, like I've got one that I thought I recorded a bunch, but my day kept getting interrupted, and it was just like, I think the last interruption, I was just like, what now? And then I stopped recording after that. Didn't record anything else. And I'm thinking that might just be the end of the vlog right there.
Yeah. Which his works, and yours could too, because there's so many of them. It's like, I'll wait till tomorrow, or at least at max the day after.
Or the one where he's doing his little Q&A recently. My dogs are going insane in the other room.
Duchess.
The Q&A where he's, answering, and he's like, are you moving back to New York? And he's like, I knew that question was going to be in there.
And he doesn't answer it.
And he doesn't answer it. And then puts 2 more videos out and doesn't come back to it, which anyways, it's funny. So, all right. Christian Bradley Chris Bradley, no offense, I can't stand flat brim hats. Maybe I'm too old. Make it a trucker version and you can count me in. Trucker versions are coming soon. They are coming. I've got to get everything else set up, but there are truckers on the way, so just keep an eye out. Yeah. I mean, Jared likes wearing truckers, so that's kind of...
Dude, I'm in, I don't know.
You'll wear
I'm kind
everything.
of in like no man's land because I don't really have a style. Like, I'm like, oh, I like that. I hated flat billed hats for the longest time. I'm like, that's what the kids wear. Don't they know that you're supposed to curve them around? Like that's what a good baseball player would have on his head.
Yeah.
And then all the baseball players started wearing flat-billed hats. And I'm like, am I missing something? Got into them, and I love flat-billed hats. Truckers never wore them. I was like, why don't you have a back on there now? I wear them all the time.
Yep. And I used to always wear trucker hats. It's the only thing I used. And you may even see like some of my early vlogs on the channel. That's what I was using. But then I came to this conclusion that with a trucker hat, what happens is this. My face gets really dark.
Yeah.
And so I went with the flat bill because at least then I can still light things up.
Yep.
And the other issue that I was having with some of it is it's curved down enough that it was pushing on the glasses and then it digs into the nose. So I did it out of necessity. And then it was just like, oh, actually, most of these don't look bad on my noggin. So I think I'll keep it. But yep. And Dean saying charcoal is where it's at. I initially thought I was just going to release this version. And then when I saw the options, I was like, yeah, they're pretty good. So I like that. John saying is just thinking the same thing on the flat brim hats. My hat have so much of a curl to it that you can put it in your back pocket when it's not on your head. Yeah, that's how I used to do it all the time. Take it off, roll it up, throw it in that back pocket. It's good. So, but yeah, Chris, keep an eye out. It will be coming soon. Jen says that she has a small head and face, so trucker hat has to work for her.
I think she's right. Yeah, a flat bill hat on her would be kind of interesting.
I get it. Chris Bradley was catching up on something there, Jared, that you and I were talking about when I said that, I've got a hat that is on its way to China. It's actually setting in customs right now. And you said something was coming. And
I did. That one kind of slipped out, but thank you, Chris.
He's got a question there.
Yeah, what do you got? I can't see anything.
It says A7S3 question mark 3 drool emojis.
Yeah, you caught me, Chris. Live. I was like, nobody heard that. That's okay. We got by that one.
Oh, no. He got it.
Yeah. We'll just we'll Casey Neistat that maybe. That's truly a maybe. I don't know if it's coming or not. Apparently, it's coming from the North Pole.
Oh, so you don't know if it's coming, which means there was an order placed.
Yeah, but I may or may not have canceled that. It's taken so long.
No, it's a Sony. You wouldn't have canceled the order. Canon, on the other hand. Diana Gladney in the chat as well.
Diana, how'd y'all's thing go last night? Josh said it went longer than anticipated, but
that's what happens when you get me stirred up and you're like, tell me what you really think about Canon. And then I just start to talk about StreamYard.
Well, she said it's about the M series. I'm like, is that a thing anymore? Hold on, let me dig in the archives. You might still use those?
Yeah. That and yeah. I don't know. Is that an M there? Yeah, that's the M6?
Oh yeah, M6. I use this when I have to.
I've got
when I don't have a GoPro around, when I don't have a cell phone, when I don't have a Kodak camera, when I don't.
Yeah, I've got the EOS M, the old one, which it's actually a pretty good camera if you can install Magic Lantern on it, so that way you can, I don't know, restore the neutering job that Canon did.
I knew you were going there. Just trying to keep the water in. Oh.
Yes. So Diana says it was an awesome 8-minute conversation that lasted 3 hours. That's how our conversation went. We kept adding value. I kept trying to get her to crack. I knew she was recording our conversation. So I just kept talking about different things to try to get her to break. And eventually she said, I'm stopping the recording. I can't do this anymore. And then mission accomplished. So that was that. It was good. I'm getting into this groove, especially now with the website, where I think that I'm about ready to get it all set up. Like just before we hopped on, I was doing some like redirecting, trying to get the store. I've got categories set up, but I need to make sure they're linked properly. And once that's there, it's ready to go live. So yeah, it's good. And I'll go ahead and put this out for those that are in the chat. If you want one of those hats and you want to save a little bit on shipping and handling, DM me. Send me a message over on Instagram at Joshua Verwers, and I'll hook you up. I'll tell you the PayPal, Venmo, Cash App link where you can send the $30, and I will include shipping on that. But that is only good through tomorrow night, midnight? So October 9th.
11:59, 59 seconds.
Because the website will probably be up and running sometime today or tomorrow. And at that point, it's all automated. I'm not doing manual orders. But for those that wanting to jump on it, and I've got a few orders that I've got to put in after we get off here. So just putting that out there. You guys are hopping in the chat. You're joining us live. And that is the reward that you get. You know, little bonus for catching us live.
Not too shabby.
So there you be. Hey, I think it is about time that we roll that beautiful bean footage and let's get into the conversation at hand, which will be, should Sunday school classes be online? Let's roll it.
Welcome to the Vlog Pastors Podcast, a podcast all about the stories and strategies of sharing God's love in the digital world. Now, here are two pastors that love to put a camera in their face and walk around in public. They are the Bill and Ted of digital ministry, JARROD Brown and Joshua Verwers.
That's right, Bill and Ted here, welcoming you into Vlog Pastors Podcast, episode number 23. And we are talking about answering a question: should churches have their Sunday school classes online? That's the conversation today. So if you are here in the chat, make sure you let us know what your thoughts are. What do you think about that? Should they be offering more? Because as we've seen, churches are doing a lot more online. They're trying to really lean heavily into ministry, and it's not just churches, it's ministers and ministries around there, and they're trying to add more. And then you just wonder, well, what should be online? Should everything be online? Should something not be online? If so, who puts it online? Who teaches it online? These are the questions that neither one of us have the answers to, but we're going to sound like we do anyways.
Well played. Totally accurate.
So first, before we get into it, Jared, how do you define Sunday school? This is one of the questions we had asked the community a few weeks back. We said, hey, if you've got show topics that you want us to discuss, let us know. And this was one of those topics, and we thought, well, hey, let's hop in. That sounds interesting.
How do I define Sunday school?
Yeah, what is Sunday school?
I'm going to give like a lay example, I think. Sunday school is the piece outside of a main service, outside of a like all groups gathering, for teaching, for instruction, and discipleship, heavy into discipleship. Sunday school. And apparently it's on Sunday.
Well,
before church, after church, whatever.
That would be good. So I guess that would be something that is exclusive to those of us Sunday worshipers. Seventh-day Adventists, I'm guessing they just have a Sabbath school.
They call it Sabbath school?
I don't know. Maybe that's what we should be calling it, although I guess technically it's not the original Sabbath.
Don't get in the weeds on that one.
Yeah, that's a topic for another day. I will just say I'm a Sunday worshiper. And so for me, Sunday school, yeah, I look at it first, school, so it's more of a teaching. It's not really a preaching. It's something where you can kind of dive in. And I've been around enough different churches that when I've said Sunday school, they instantly think it's for children. So we've had to clarify at our church, because people will come and they'll be bringing their kids and they're like, where's Sunday school? And it's like, oh, yeah, ours is an adult Sunday school. It's like there's no kids.
So what do you call the kids' Sunday school?
We don't do a kids' Sunday school. We just have kids' church. And so during the main adult service, the worship service, when I'm doing the preaching, we've got something for the kids. So we'll get together for like an adult Sunday school. And this was pre-COVID because we haven't brought our Sunday school back yet. And so we would basically do the adult Sunday school. Kids could be out there as well. And oftentimes the kids enjoyed it. And they were kind of in and on a part of this. But then we would go into like worship and, announcements and offering. And then as soon as we got ready for the main message, then we adults would have the message and the kids would then have their
Floating
kids' church.
coffee hand. What does it say? Show it. Show it. Oh, France.
Friends, it's Central Perk, which,
I still like my Golden Girls. That one will do, though.
how you doing? Better with a coffee in my hand. Okay, so for us, the Sunday school, that's typically what I would look at. But what I would like us to do is let's answer this from both an adult Sunday school and maybe a kids Sunday school. When I was growing up, there was a difference. We had an adult Sunday school class and a kids Sunday school class. So let's think about this. Answering the question, should Sunday school be online? Whether it's adult or whether it's kids Sunday school, should it be online? What say you?
Well, I feel like I need to go first because I need to offer a couple confessions since we're up in church this morning.
We're ready for you.
Confession number one, I've never watched Bill and Ted's Most Excellent Adventures. Confession number one. So for us to be the Bill and Ted, I think was a bit of a stretch today. I know enough to know pop culture references, and I've seen snippets through YouTube quotes, that sort of thing. I just needed to get that off my chest.
Now,
okay,
here's the thing.
That's good.
You may not know it, but once you watch it, which I have now decreed and commanded, thus saith the Joshua, Jared
might be in
Brown
rebellion on this
must
one.
watch
Okay. Mm-hmm.
The Excellent Adventures of Bill and Ted.
Okay.
And
I'm
then
not opposed
after
to
you
them. They've
watch
just
it,
never...
after you watch it, I mean, see, here's the thing. These guys in the chat are feeling the exact same thing. Dean, gasping. How is this possible?
Hey, let's keep all the judgment
No.
off this channel. Oh, I forgot you're the shame.
Passing
Okay,
judgment. we're shame.
No.
John Hayes asking if you're living under a rock.
No. It is possible to have not seen.
Yes, it is possible if you're my mother. That's what she says in the chat. I haven't watched it either, Jared. So yeah, although, hey, we'll just say Dean is saying no judgment, just pity.
Okay. Oh, well played, Dean.
Okay,
so
but once you watch it,
Yes.
once you watch it, and you must watch it, I have now commanded. It has been spoken.
Oh, I had to do this with my wife and The Matrix and several other.
Once you do it, and once you watch it, then you will look back on this conversation and you'll be like, oh yeah, that wasn't a stretch to call us the Bill and Ted at all.
Are you sure that it's not something like The Goonies, that you had to watch it in that time period? Because
No.
we're just going to go ahead and get everything off our chest today. I didn't watch
No.
The Goonies until later on in life, and I went back and watched it, and I was like,
No. Nope. And the fact that you and I are both huge John Wick fans, and the fact that Keanu Reeves is in it alone, I mean, right there, you're good.
But you're going to want, never mind. You're going to want John Wick to run around and throat punch people.
No. This
No?
maybe. But
I'm my own on that one.
I will be shocked if you do not enjoy that movie.
Okay.
Shocked.
I'll try it out.
So,
confession number
confession two.
And here's more along the lines of what we're talking about today. My church at current, we do not have any Sunday schools. We don't do Sunday school at all. So all of this would be pontification.
However,
on my end.
You do Rev Roundtable, right?
We do a lot of home groups. We do a lot of intensive Bible study type things, but we don't have Sunday school for specific age ranges, the typical box that you're looking for. Before Sunday, we don't show up. We don't have, over 60. We don't have, the youth show up and do their thing. We don't have anything. Sunday is Sunday service celebration kind of a deal.
Yep.
We do have house churches where they are usually centered around the dividing of the word, but it's a house church, you know? And then, and we have a children's service worship. time, whatever.
Yeah.
Where they do their
But
deal.
you have another service that is more like at the church that is more diving into the Bible, stuff like that, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
let's just say that is going to be close enough for this conversation to what I would consider Sunday school. It may not be on Sunday. It can be Tuesday school, if you want to call it that. And actually, our church for many years, we went away from the Sunday school model, and we had it on Tuesday evenings, and it was just called School of the Bible. And we did it that way. And so I'm fine with it being on a different day. But let's talk about that service alone. Should that be online?
Again, that's where we've taken quite a few strides in going in a different direction of where we've created a culture of we're all engaging around the same text throughout the week, and we're all in, and which I'm sure a lot of churches are, where we're all in like strong enough relationships where we can say, look, this Luke 6 is challenging me this week, like why did Jesus call for that withered hand right in front of everybody? Like is he provoking a fight? What's going on? And there's enough conversations going on throughout the week that you have this collective Bible study. But for the purposes that we have of digital, I would say my overall answer would be, who do you have in the stalls? What racehorses do you have in the stalls? What talent do you have? So, for us, we're extremely, like, we're stacked as far as preachers and teachers. We have got preachers and teachers galore. I just happen to be the face of said church, but we have got some folks who can really teach, and it's nice to call on their strengths. However, a lot of them aren't technically with it, savvy.
Right.
And they're not going to be able to sit down in front of a camera and pull off some digital stuff. So I think it's about looking at your congregation going, oh, look, there's a gifted teacher. There's a Sunday school. You know them. They're the ones who are constantly in the Word, sharing those nuggets with you, talking about how they've shared with their friends and that their faith, and they're breaking certain things down and extra biblical stuff. You know the Bible teachers in your group.
Yeah.
Getting them and equipping them to do so. My personal opinion is turn them loose. If you've got a YouTube channel, if Grace, which we do, but do what I say, don't I? Which is a whole video and rabbit trail we'll get into later. I'm actually making that video this week of I've got a lot of really good advice that I should probably put into practice on my own channel and in my own church. But if I was talking to me and I was sitting across the camera from me, I would say, grab your Joshes, grab your KCs, grab your Davids, grab your Jims, those guys. And I'm so diverse in those areas, and your Jasons, and let them sit down and tackle a week or tackle a series or tackle whatever they have the time and the energy and the effort for, and build out a package, because your people are being discipled and trained across all platforms all the time. The day for me, the day of, it's just this church's instruction that's feeding into the people. That day has sailed. Right. And now they're getting 4 or 5 different churches, 4 or 5 different pastors constantly feeding in. And my recommendation would be one of those voices.
Yeah.
Maybe don't put your foot down and say you got to show up to Sunday school, or
right,
or you're going to be left behind, but be one of those voices, be relevant. Anyway, that would be my 2 cents. I would say if you can put something out, but I would take a look at your stalls and see what kind of racehorses you got in there.
Right. And I would say that's a good thought. John Hayes here in the comments saying that the large thing for the Sunday school aspect of it is if the lead, and sometimes only pastor, teaching it, it'll be one more thing that you need to protect the pastor from burnout. And I would say that definitely is a big aspect, especially when we're talking about small churches. A lot of them are not, like your church where you got several deep, or at our church where we have a couple and we could do that. There's a lot of churches I know that it's one pastor.
It's a one-man show.
And that's it. And in that regard, what I would say, even first and foremost, is think about what you're currently doing, or what you were doing that you haven't gone back to doing. And then try to figure out what is the special sauce of that. What is the one thing that just makes that enjoyable, edifying, and encouraging for people? What is it? If it is somebody that teaches and there's not a lot of, congregational participation, but it's, I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to teach you this and we're going to lay this out and you're going to get fed like meat and potatoes steak dinner. If that's what it is, and that's where the strength is, that knowledge that's being transferred, I would say online could be a way of doing that. If it winds up being a church that, yes, they do that, but they get into very doctrinal, specific things that are related to their church or their denomination, could that be done? Sure. Is it what you want to put out there? That would be another question, because there are some of those things that you got to expect if you're putting stuff online and if it's open for the public, there's going to be some pushback on that. But if you're talking about, like with ours, one of the things that makes our Sunday school enjoyable is the interaction. And so it's typically, you know, my grandma, and she's the one that's kind of teaching that. And she's engaging and she's looking and she's bringing up a point and we're bouncing back and forth. And, you know, somebody has a thought or a question and it's just that feedback.
That is so encouraging.
Which
I love to hear that.
Yeah, it's amazing to do that. However, I don't think that could actually play out online for a few different reasons. One, she's not got the tech savvy to be able to do that. So we would have to have one or two other people trying to help and then do a relay, because she's going to have to try to read the comments or maybe Zoom and everybody's talking over each other in that type of a scenario. And there's some challenges with that, doing something like that online. And that's where, could it work? Possibly, with the right person that has the skill set or that is willing to learn the skill set. And I don't think there's anything wrong with somebody saying, I don't feel like I'm called to learn this skill set yet. I think there's something wrong with a church saying we're not going to even think about doing anything online at all and just trying to put their head in the sand and ignoring that we're in this digital age. I think there's something wrong with that. I don't think there's something wrong with individual leaders in the church saying, not for me. But I think you should have somebody in the church that helps with that to do something.
It's going to require, Josh, us as pastors, as leads. I'm listening to you, and I'm being challenged by this. It's going to require us letting go of a little bit of absolute control of things, because not that we shouldn't vet people,
right?
But I'm just thinking through my own scenario where I just list off 5 or 6 gifted teachers.
Yeah.
However, if I look at my church and online, when they do Zoom and when they do Skype calls and when they're doing all those types of deals for their groups, it's really a couple of my ladies who are tech savvy, who are with it. They're already hosting Bible studies online on Facebook where they're jumping into groups, and they're actually really the gifted and talented ones. And it would behoove me to fan the flame of that and say, hey, look, Sarah's got an awesome Bible study that she's going through Ephesians right now. It's fantastic. You might ought to hop over there and get it, and maybe put some backing of the church behind it of, hey, ladies, men, get in there. You may think it's just for girls, but it's fantastic. It's well done in that format.
Right.
Digitally.
And I think the other thing, and this would speak directly to pastors, I think pastors need to be willing to allow people to fail.
Yeah.
Give them the freedom to fail, but make sure that they know that they have the support of you to help pick them back up and help them so they don't fail in the future. And as a lead pastor of a church, if somebody else teaches and they teach something wrong, okay, they taught something wrong. All I need to do is just correct that. And I'm going to correct it with them. And then we together are going to try to correct it with everybody else. And it would be no different from bringing in a guest minister. A guest minister comes in and they say something that you don't necessarily line up with or agree. You got an opportunity right there. Go ahead and just lay out your case, and this is what it is. But typically when you start to allow that, what you're going to find, and from my personal experience, what I found is those people that start to rise up, they are continually coming back to me and they're like, hey, I was thinking about doing this and I was thinking about doing that. And what do you think of this? And then you just kind of let them, and they stay, if you're like the one fanning the flame, they stay close to the flame. They want to stay close, and some of that just kind of flows into them naturally. So doing stuff online, I think there's a time and a place for it. I think like with many of the conversations we have, you need to ask your questions back to yourself first and foremost. So should Sunday school classes be online? Before you answer that, why do you want Sunday school classes to be online?
Exactly.
What's the benefit?
That's a really good question. I actually had a young man come up the other day, and a lot of this can be worked out in some relational dynamics, as well as my mentor pastor taught me a little nugget years ago that I've hung on to, and I'm gonna share it with you guys. And so this guy comes up to me and he says, "I think we should have another men's Bible study." And I said, "Yeah, fantastic. Me too. A million of them. That's great. Are the people there? Have you been asked to start a men's Bible study?" Well, no, but I really think we should have one. Man, that is awesome. Me too. I mean, more of the word divided up there. Yes, yes, and amen. So why don't you take that and run with it?
Right.
And I'm going to be there for you. Check in with me. Let me know how things are going. I want to encourage you. Head out after it, but just safety gloves here. Don't be discouraged. If everybody's not as excited as you are, do what the Lord's placed on your heart to do. So now I get to check back in and follow that up. So all that to say, that nugget that he gave me was when everybody wants to do everything in a small church.
Yeah.
Let's feed the poor. Let's clothe them. Let's make sure that we're part of this, and this. And we need to use all of our volunteers for this and that. And what the answer is, oh, that sounds amazing. That's fantastic. Of course, we want to be involved in all of that stuff. Why don't you head that up?
Right.
You start into that, and if there's any interest, if it gains any traction, yes and amen.
Yep. Hey, Pastor, a church that I used to attend, they had this amazing puppet ministry. I think we should start
awesome.
one.
That's awesome.
Sounds like God's calling you.
I'm not a puppeteer. This is your wheelhouse.
Right.
Can't wait to watch it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't give you any resources right now, but man, I want to see it.
Yep. Mom saying, I think Sunday school being interactive and being online could show the maturity level, and maybe a baby Christian would not want to participate. Just a thought. And this is something that this would go into, I'll use our interactive type Sunday schools that we've done.
Deb just gave you a really good thought. You get this.
So
good job, Deb.
Here's kind of the way I've encouraged our teachers. Anytime somebody's teaching, instead of reaching out and pointing, hey, how about you read this? How about you answer this? What do you think of that? Instead of doing that, you ask a question and try to get the participation. So, hey, we're going to go to this book, this chapter. Would anybody like to read it? And then you wait and gauge the response. And one of the things that does is people that have insecurities, it's not going to put them on the spot, which can be a hindrance to them. It can be that stumbling block. The other thing is there are people with just different personality types, especially a lot of the introverted type people. And then we get even into some of the special needs that when you put them on the spot like that, it amplifies the response and it does turn to be a negative one. So even doing stuff online, it can be a case of like right here in the chat. I mean, we've seen maybe 5 or 6 people that are actually commenting on a regular basis, and yet I look over at the analytics and we've got a dozen that are actually watching, which means not everybody's engaging, and that's fine. And I'm not going to try to call those people out, but we're like, hey, if you guys have got any thoughts, if there's anything, any questions, any comments, let us know, and then we can highlight that. So that would be something that the ones that maybe aren't as spiritually mature and they're thinking about that can be a hindrance. And also, when you have a gifted teacher knows how to preach a message and teach a message that can hit a 5-year-old or a 50-year-old. I mean, they can hit the entire thing. And that's, I think, where there can be some of that interactive element. But first, why do we even want to do it online? And if a church isn't meeting on a regular basis, or they have individuals at the church that aren't able to, because of health or medical reasons, I think that's a good reason why you would want to do it. And then it just comes how.
Yeah.
So before you would even get to the should, it's like, why do we want to do it? And then how would we do this?
With the why, I want to hop
Yeah.
on here because I think there's a couple of us out there. We have a Sunday school because we've always had a Sunday school because our
Right.
our parents had a Sunday school because that's what church does.
Yep.
It has Sunday school. What, do you not like the Word of God? What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
And I want to free some of you up. I'm a big believer in, if it can be shaken, it should be shaken. So if it is not alive and it doesn't have people just hungering and thirsting to get after it, put that thing down and do something different.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a small church, you're a small ship. You can change course pretty rapidly.
Right.
It's not like you're not going to be in the Word. And to Deb's question, what got kind of sparked it up, it's like, yeah, maybe there aren't folks who are hungry and thirsty for the Word in that particular fashion. Well, they're going to find something different, or they're always going to find reasons not to come in person.
Yeah.
They're probably going to find reasons not to show up online.
Right.
What you're doing is you're eliminating barriers for those gifted teachers, like what Josh is talking about, to do what they do.
Yeah.
If you're setting up a digital ministry online, you're not just saying, look, we have Sunday school and we do it online and it's really a Zoom meeting. No. You're eliminating barriers for them to go, this is what God has me to do. And now I have full capability and ability to do it in backing of the church. Let's do this thing.
Right. Yeah, and Diane agrees with you, saying one of the most poisonous church statements, quote, but we've always done it this way.
We've always done it. Oh,
Yeah.
goodness.
She did have a good comment here, and this would go into, if we kind of segue into the how a little bit, says if it's going to be online, it can't be boring and talking head only.
150 million %. 150 million %. And I think we've still yet to discover what Sunday school could look like. I mean, that whole sitting there, and don't get me wrong, there are some teachers like you were talking about who can talk to a 5-year-old just like they can talk to a 60-year-old. But I think there's still yet to be an evolution of this is the Word in this format laid out online.
And I will play the advocate of that because I tend to disagree with you guys a little bit. Because, well, maybe not. Yeah, I'm going to disagree because I think the problem sometimes is defining the audience. And so your Sunday school, right? So we can sit there and we can look at my vlogs, we can look at your vlogs, Jared, and we would say that those are not boring, that they're entertaining. But if you put that in front of a child, that's boring.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to watch it. You put it in front of an 80-year-old, it's boring. You talk way too fast. You're doing too many movements. Just get to the point. Stop just taking me around your day. I don't care what you had for breakfast. That type of stuff. So the audience is going to be one of the big things of defining whether or not is it boring. And when it comes to talking head, a lot of Sunday school is more of the talking head approach, where a lot of Sunday schools are based with teachers that just kind of stand, set wherever, and they are just ministering the word. And so it's the audience, it's what you're trying to get accomplished, how that's coming about. What I would say is that focus less on the perceived outcome of what people are going to think about this and more on why am I trying to do this in the first place. And I think if you can focus on that and what your intentions are with it, there's going to be a natural progression where it'll continue to improve.
I think you're right. I think we still need to encourage the future Bible projects out there. So there's a channel called the Bible Project.
Yeah.
And if you dive into any section, they're taking down through animation whatever topic that they're talking about or whatever book of the Bible that they're discussing, and it's absolutely incredible as far as teaching.
Yep.
It's fun, it's exciting, but you're probably not going to. I mean, statistically speaking, there's not a whole lot of those. You probably don't have the budget. You probably don't have the talent in your congregation to do so, but you can do something. I want to encourage the folks, the future Bible projects out there, to go after it, to look for your niche, to figure out what your style is, to go after it. But like to your point, what you said, man, if your people are hungry for the word, if there's a demographic, then you probably have somebody, God's probably given you somebody to speak to that demographic in the church, because he wouldn't leave you ill-equipped.
Yep.
Now, are you going to reach thousands and tens of thousands? Maybe not. You may reach 50, 60, 10,
Right.
5, whatever the group is. It's
Yeah.
a Bible study. It's kind of what we're talking about. If there's no life in it, shoot it, put it down. If there's life in it, put a camera in front of that person, put a brush in front of that person, put a
Yep.
sound recorder in front of that person. Let them teach.
Yeah, and I mean, we've done one of my favorite sermons that we did was more of a Sunday school type class that we would do, and I kind of sat in as a proxy for our, church, because what I did is I went over to my grandma's and we just sat at the kitchen table and let's just dive in and start reading. And that came
a good
from
one.
the previous week where I had preached a message. It sparked an idea in her. She wanted to talk about it, and I cut her off mid-sentence on the phone call, and I was like, "Hold on. We need to have this conversation on camera." And I was like, so stick a pin in that one. I'm going to bring the equipment over and we're going to record this. And that was something that I had thought about. We could start to do some more of that. And we're still planning on doing it. It's just getting the logistics and all of my time, because it's going to require, more people to be involved because of the technical ability that she has. But it's not like her willingness to teach isn't there. It's just the back end of it, how to do all of this. And that's where, okay, in some cases like that, and here would be something else for somebody, if you've got a gifted teacher at your church that does a class like that, and you're like, I really wish they would do something online, well, maybe you need to help them do it online. Maybe you can figure out how to coordinate with them and come help support them in that calling that they have. And that's kind of what I'm going to do with her, is just let's go over, let's have these conversations. And essentially, I'm letting her kind of steer and direct to the most part like she would do on a Sunday morning. And then I'm asking questions and giving thoughts and observations like our church would normally be doing, because it's pre-recorded. And
Let me just break off some myths. I want to hop in there because
Yeah.
you said you may have to come alongside, and in that particular scenario, I understand. But guys, we have 70 and 80-year-olds in our church who have figured out Facebook, and they
Correct.
swore that they never would. If the desire is there, they're going to make sure that this happens. I've got an elder now who he ribbed me for years about being on YouTube. What in the world are you on YouTube? Why are you making videos about yourself? What in the world's going on? Guess who's starting a vlog channel? That's what I'm talking about. He figures out the medium, figures out how to work a cell phone, is figuring out editing software so he can make a vlog about flying planes and sailing boats and stuff like that. Like, if the desire is there for that particular person to lead a Bible study, man, they're going to figure it out. But
Yeah.
there are the exceptions, like what you said. I think if we just unleashed people, empowered people to go after it, like you said, to fail, to try and fail, to stand there with them because we've gone before them and say, look, this YouTube space or this digital media space, man, Facebook can be an animal,
Yeah.
Keep on preaching the word, or keep on dividing the word up for people. Keep on feeding folks. Keep on going after it. Keep on encouraging.
Yeah,
I think
and-
it'd go a long way.
I would honestly, when I try to think about this entire conversation about Sunday school classes and going even in the broader context that we've touched on before, what should we as churches, as Christians be putting online? More.
I was waiting for a specific. That's perfect, though.
That's my
That's
answer.
so perfect.
More. Because the world is putting more on there. We need to put more on there. And
Yeah,
then it's
and some of it's good, some of it's bad, some of it you hate, some of it you have to like talk about the next day at coffee.
right.
It's more.
Yeah, and that would be the thing. Really, we need to look at that. And in those moments, honestly, just get in a prayerful moment with God and say, okay, God, I know you're calling me to do more. What does more look like right now? In this age, in this season of life, what can I do? And put more on. I mean, here at our church, one of the things that we've done, and I don't know if anybody even looks or follows what we're doing on our Facebook on the church, and all it is, it's just a daily image. It's a picture that we're putting on with maybe a question or a comment, and it gets very little engagement most of the time, but sometimes it does get engagement. And these are either things to encourage somebody, remind somebody, entertain, a little bit of everything. But I don't have the time to do all of this. And I had shown in one of my vlogs a while back, I'm using a couple different apps to do it for me. And so it's essentially I'm using Sunday Social, which creates the image and the questions anyways, and you just go through and pick which ones you want. And then I'm using the app later to schedule all that out. And I'm typically scheduling up to a month ahead of time. And so we'll have people at church and they'll be like, oh, that was a great image that you posted today. I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Right.
It was like, what was even on there? That's one of the little mores that you could put out there. When it comes to Sunday school stuff, yes, you can put more out there. And to your point, you can figure this out.
Yeah.
These things can work. And maybe one of the things that you could be doing in a Sunday school type of vibe, if it's a question and a response type of a deal that you would normally be teaching on a Sunday school, well, I don't know. Maybe you had 7 different points or that you were going to talk about throughout the week.
That's so true.
Do one each day and do a little quick Facebook or, Instagram live wherever your audience is at, and just ask them the question and say, hey, I was reading this and I saw this and that was really cool. What do you guys think? I would love to hear what you have to say. Let me know. Yeah. And you can do a quick little thing like that to do more.
And that's not we fully understand. We are small church pastors, so we're not saying do more. Entrepreneurial side of Gary V, do more, hustle, hustle, hustle. Pick up that side hustle. I'm reading a book right now. It's called Sacred Pace. I can't remember the author. I love it, man. And basically, he's saying you want to go after all of those things that God's put before you, but you want to make sure that it is a field that God's put before you. You're going to be working in a field that God has called you to. And these things right here, I'm holding up my cell phone for those of you who are just listening. Those are meant to be tools to the conversation that we had a couple weeks ago about the social dilemma. It's meant to be a tool. You have people inside of your congregation that are there to help. You are not the sole end of every church just because you happen to be the face or the preacher or the speaker or the youth minister or whatever. You have young adults that are there to help co-labor in the whole process. Yeah. So I just want to say when we're going, hey, get some more out there, get some more media. We need more Christian. We're just saying it would be idealistically, the more that Christians can put into this world, the more leaven, the more salt, the more seasoning that we can bring in, the better. However, it doesn't need to transition over to work yourself to death. That's not what we mean at all. You have technology. It's built these cameras. I'm talking to people in other states right now from my guest bedroom. I'm sitting here in front of a wall in my guest bedroom. These things are meant to help expand ministry, expand laboring stuff rather than being a slave to it. So I just want to encourage you guys, when we say work, we don't mean like, Yeah,
and to me, it's not that. It's not saying, work yourself to the bone, even though I typically do that, and I need to find boundaries and pacing. And
there's a book called Sacred Pace.
Yeah, I think I've read like a dozen books along those lines, and I do as they say, not as I do.
That's what I'm saying. I'm making a video about it this week.
It's a lot of that type of stuff, but I do typically come, and maybe this is my human pessimistic side, or maybe it's just having eyes to see. The majority of Christians are selfish and lazy, and they're not doing enough for the kingdom of God because they're living for themselves rather for the kingdom. And that's where I'm like, the church needs to be putting out more. There are exceptions to that rule. There are churches and ministries out there that they're putting out a ton of content, and they're doing enough to start to make up for some of us that aren't doing some. But our voice needs to be heard too, because God has created all of us individually, unique. We all have that little bit of God that's sprinkled on us that is different from the next person. And the world needs every bit of God that they can get. And so that's where we need to put out more. So
that's really good.
Yeah. My mom loved that selfish and lazy. So, yep. Yeah. And let's see, Christian saying, you mentioned The Social Dilemma, have not watched it yet. Is it worth the time? Off topic, hashtag.
What would you say, man? It's interesting. It paints a very dark future, very bleak. pessimistic view of where we're headed in social media. It doesn't take into account the possibilities of what God could do.
Yes, it's definitely got a very pessimistic, humanistic point of worldview. So it's, if you understand going through that, which in other words, if you are a child of God that has your eyes open to the reality and the depravity that's already in the world, and you understand enough of human history that everything kind of goes in cycles, and like, Solomon wrote, there's nothing new under the sun.
Yeah.
If you understand that, it's not that surprising. The surprising part of that is that people are surprised by it.
That's so true. That is so true. It's like, wait, what was revolutionary about this particular film? We all kind of knew it.
It's good.
I think somebody's saying it though.
It's good. I think that I watched it once. I won't watch it again. I don't necessarily recommend it for other people to watch. But if you've got more of a heavenly outlook on things, where it's like, oh, yeah, I know this world is going to hell in a handbasket, but heaven awaits, and it's fine because I've read the end of the book, and in the end, we all win. If you understand that, yeah, it's fine. You'll have no problem about it. If you're a type of person that the chaos in the world plants a little bit of fear inside you that you haven't been able to overcome, yeah, don't watch it. But for you, Christian, I'd say watch it. Or Chris, yeah, I would definitely watch it. I think it would be worth it for you. And Diana is saying absolutely worth watching. Diana has one of those perspectives that she understands that REM was prophetic with "It's the end of the world as we know it," and I feel fine. Let's see, a couple other comments I want to get to as we wrap up here. Tammy Guzman, I am learning the Hebrew version. Can you include this in Sunday school? I don't think anything is off limits with Sunday school. Yeah. We had one of the gentlemen in our church for the longest time. His favorite Bible that he used was the Complete Jewish Bible. And he studied a lot of that. So we would be doing a normal Sunday school, and we would take these little like Hebrew, lessons that would just kind of come out, and he'd be like, oh, I was studying this word actually because of this verse, and here's how it reads in the Complete Jewish Bible, and here's what that word really means in Hebrew. I definitely think it can be done. And I would say, if you feel like God's calling you to it, press in on it. And then check with, your church leadership and say, hey, here's what I think God's calling me to. Do we have some way that I could help and put this out there?
You know what I love about this though, Josh, is that there's an understanding already established in social media that if it's not fruitful, if it's not beneficial, then people are just not going to show up. And that's totally acceptable. So you're going to post something and nobody will have watched it because you're boring or it sucked, or I hate to use those terms, but like if you're heading in the wrong direction, or if you're heading in an old format, or if it's uninspired, or if it doesn't have the touch of God on it, not watching it. But I'll watch anything if God's in it. Yep. And if God is moving and he's on that teacher, whatever format they so choose, then
yep,
all day.
And I don't. I mean, I love seeing. I don't know. I'm in a weird place, in a weird funk. I have gotten to the place where there are few that I will watch. And I think maybe it's because the path and direction that I'm in my life right now, I'm noticing that there are a lot of other preaching teachings out there that it will steer me off course slightly. Sure. And I'm so laser focused on where God has got me going that if it's any deviation, I'm like, nah, see ya. Just and not to say that it's bad. It's just not.
No, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Because if there's not like the clear hand of God on somebody, what's the point? Because there's so many.
But the clear hand of God might be on somebody, but it's not my path that I'm on. To me, I would sit there and look at like a Peter Paul type moment. So Peter and Paul were going after two different people, same ultimate purpose, but they just couldn't walk together. Because
you're talking about you individually. You're not speaking to the person who's looking for the Bible study. Because the person looking for the Bible study is going to identify that, oh my goodness, this is filling a need that I have in me. And what you're illustrating is like, look, I don't have that need. I'm not going to be showing up. Thus, what we're talking about.
But I think it's also important for people to, hey, let me put it this way. If your church is offering something, show up and ask God to use it for you. Because if your church is doing something, the leadership at that church is hearing from God in a certain direction, and you should be thinking, oh, God wants our body to be moving in this direction. All right, God, speak to me through it. And so there are things that our church does that I attend almost all of it. Now, we've got a few home groups that I don't, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to home group. I'm just not going to all the home groups all the time. But I think we need to ask for it. But at the same time, if it's outside of your, normal church contents, I think that you should definitely be thinking about, is this what I need in this moment or not? And that doesn't mean it's bad at all. It just means, and to use Tammy's example, I'm not that big into Hebrew anymore. I mean, do I study it every week? Yes. For my sermons, I'm definitely looking at it, but typically I just kind of like to make light of certain things, like the word all or the word no. And it's like, you know what the Hebrew word for the word no means? No. It's just like, so to me, I'm not in that vein right now. And that's where I think we sometimes need to be careful about, if people aren't attending, if they're not watching, if they're not engaging, that doesn't necessarily mean that God's not in it. That may mean that you're working against God through it because you're advertising it to the wrong people and you're trying to put it in front of the wrong people. And maybe it's a case of identifying that audience, going back to the why. Who is this for? If I were to take our Sunday school teaching and say, go onto YouTube and make it open for the public and be like, hey, come get saved because we're discussing whatever. It's the wrong, environment. But maybe to do a Sunday school teaching the way we do it in a private church Facebook group that's for our people, where there's a little bit more freedom and interactive ability with that, might be the right audience there. It's essentially the same thing that we're putting out there, but in front of different audiences. Are we saying the same thing, Jared?
I think so, man, but maybe it'll make sense to somebody in a, like if I say it, maybe they get it. You say it, maybe they get it.
The last thought came out and I was like, wait, I'm pretty sure you just said this exact same thing. I'm just talking in circles over here.
We're all good.
Anyways. Anywho, one other one here. Bradley J. Crow saying, hey guys, I'm at Bible College in New York right now, and they want us to do video ministry for our ministry this year. Thank you for your help. Do it.
That's amazing.
Glad to hear it. Thank you so much for leaving us that comment. It's encouraging to us to keep doing what we're doing. And if you got any questions, any topics, and here's for all of you guys, if you have any thoughts on stuff that you're hearing in the show, if it's an idea for a future episode, we want to know. We want to know what you think. Next week, the plan, I didn't even tell Jared about this, but next week on the show, if I'm looking at my ticker down here, it's going to tell us what we're doing because I don't even remember what I had posted. What does it say? It says, next week on the show, we will be talking about ways to not be boring with digital ministry. There you go.
Man. Oh, man. Oh, man.
So that is the topic.
As if we've got it figured. Okay.
For next week.
That's good.
I think we have learned a few things. Between the two of us, we have created over 500 videos on our channels.
So true.
So I think we've learned a few things.
It's funny. You can look back and you can see somebody just starting out and go, okay, let me help you. Like, right. I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember staring at the screen.
Yep.
And not looking at the lens.
Yeah.
Little things. Oh.
I mean, dude, talking to Diana last night, and she's mentioning how when she first found me, she went back and started watching all of the old vlogs that I had, and she's like, oh, wow, he's using his phone. And there's like no microphone on that thing.
Yeah.
But at least he's improved a little bit.
You know what though? I mean, we still had an audience. We still had a story to tell. We
This
still
is
had
true.
people who were willing to ride with us. That was fun.
This is true. This is true. And as we finally get ready to sign out, I will pull up one comment from my brother here. He says, "Hi, Jared."
Hey.
He's been trying to rib me down in the comments, and
Dude,
I
my
refuse
comments
to
aren't
pull
working.
them on screen. So,
Dustin,
it.
dude, my comments aren't working today. I was just telling him, so I'm at a disadvantage. I'll read them out either this week or next.
he was just talking about how I'm my mother's favorite child.
Ah, well.
That's what it was. And the final comment of the show, Chris Bradley says, next week's episode is going to be tough because we are both boring. He kids. But anywho,
Sure.
Guys, that's what we've got for you. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget, if you're not already following us on Instagram, you can head over and check it out. Check me out on Instagram at Joshua Verwers. Check Jared out at Bite of Brownie Productions. And I guess that means until next week, we just want y'all to stay blessed and enjoy God's best. Have a great week.